Hello, teachers, and welcome to TSH, Teacher Survival Hacks. Go ahead and click on that like and subscribe button if you like what I am saying in this installment of Teacher Survival Hacks. Last time, in our last installment, I was talking to you I was discussing the elements of time, and I'll repeat those. They are instructional time, it is student time, there's also personal time, and the largest component of time is also called prep time. We are in prep time, or shall we say you are in prep time at this time. I also discussed and I urged you to contact your department head regarding the upcoming units of instruction next year and what's involved with that. We were at the point that you have finished your interview and you have landed your job, and the principal has probably discussed or shown you your room assignment, and that's pretty much all you know at this time. And we're in the middle of the summer right now. Okay. Now, I want you to understand that when I urged you to contact your department head or your team leader regarding the units of instruction, you don't have to necessarily focus on that. My point is, you can, if you're in the state of Texas, and I know other states are the same, you can actually look up those units of instruction for your grade level and your scope and sequence. I know in Texas, our educational organization is called the Texas Education Agency, and they provide a series of descriptions of what's expected for each grade level called the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, what we call TEKS. Okay, you can look those up, and I'm sure other districts and other states pretty much have a similar setup. So you don't have to necessarily bother or try to contact your department head or your team leader, but it is something nice to do. If in many cases your department head is conducting the interview in which you were hired in the first place, so you probably already know or have met this person. Okay, so you don't have to bother them any further unless you really want to, but I'm just saying it's not absolutely necessary to do that, but it's a nice thing to do, because here's the thing: you're going to have to figure out the consumables that are ordered for the science department and that the science department normally uses or has on hand to save you some money. Okay, so please understand that there are consumables. If they don't order it for you, you gotta pay them. Okay, you gotta buy them. Excuse me. Okay, and I urge you in my last installment that you need to get very familiar with that store called the dollar store, because you will be, as a science teacher, especially in science, you will be returning to that store. Okay, all right. So by now, I'm telling you now, warning you, summer is quickly moving on, and we are quickly approaching the fall. So you need to be taking a proactive stance, and you need to be working on some things. Now, my point in this is this. You need to establish a catalog of activities, worksheets, PowerPoints, videos that go along with each unit of instruction, because there's going to be some times during your team planning when they're going to say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you're going to think to yourself, this is only going to take 20 minutes. What am I going to do the rest of the time? You need to have that planned, because let me tell you something. When the fall approaches and arrives, you won't have any time. You'll have very little time, and you're trying to preserve your personal time. Do not allow your planning time, your prep time, to invade your personal time. Then you'll start to feel resentment toward what you are doing in your job assignment, and you don't want to go there, because you have so many other things to take care of as a teacher. Okay? So here's what's going to happen, people, and this time is approaching. A few days before you actually meet with your students, a few days before, you're going to have to go to beginning teacher professional development. And during that time, they'll be introducing you to the gradebook program, the grading procedures that you need to follow in the gradebook program, and how the nuts and bolts of how that works. They'll be discussing retirement. There's 11 states that do not contribute to Social Security. If you're in one of those states, they're going to be going over the state retirement system. If you are in a state in which you contribute strictly to Social Security, then more power to you. But they're also going to be giving you an option to join the 403B program, in which you'll be investing in yourself on top of, or in addition to, your teacher retirement system or your Social Security. It's a good idea to join that, let me tell you, because in a lot of cases, the districts will, depending on your state, the district will match your contribution up to a certain limit. They'll match your, say like you put in $50, the state will contribute $50 toward your 403B, as a way to fund your subsidize your retirement. Okay, good thing to have, good thing to be in. So this is money in which you don't miss what I call pizza money. You know, many of you buy a pizza every other week, $30 and some beer and so forth. You know, it comes up to about $50. Well, this money can be set aside for that. And let me tell you something, as a retired veteran of the trade, retirement comes fast, okay? And you need to be prepared to have additional funds set aside for your retirement. Just don't rely on Social Security or your teacher retirement in itself. You need to do things on your own to subsidize your retirement, okay? Then they're going to go over insurance policies, disability, life insurance policy, health insurance policy. They're going to go over all those things during your beginning teacher staff development. They're going to go over emailing, the ethics of emailing. They're going to give you examples of good emails, bad emails, what can get you in trouble, things of that nature. You can't be sexting teachers or kids using your email or the district email, okay? They're going to be going over your evaluation system. They're going to go all over your evaluation systems, the nuts and bolts of your evaluation system, how you're evaluated. They're going to give you time frames and what things that you are expected to have for your grade level supervisor. all those things. They're going to go through that. They're going to go over your professional organizations, how these organizations can help you in case of a lawsuit, in case of you have a disagreement with the administration, and the professional development of different professional organizations can help you in some of these cases. There are a lot of things that you're going to be given as far as information. And let me tell you, this is going to last 2 to 3 days. And, you know, there'll be a lot of what people normally call fun activities, you know, lighthearted activities. You'll have games, you'll have meet and greets and this and that. It's going to be a full day. You're going to be exhausted by the time this is over. Okay? And then, right after beginning teacher professional development, staff development starts. Oh, yes. And generally, to be honest with you, it's filler. Okay? It's more or less designed for you, for the beginning teacher. Okay? But a lot of it's filler. It's put together by the campus administration. They have little games and puzzles and activities to last through the 2 or 3 days that are offered for staff development. And the veterans, they just simply sit there quietly and roll their eyes, you know. And I know what they're thinking. Get me to my classroom. Please get me to my classroom. I'm tired of this. Get me to my classroom, to be honest with you. Okay? This is the time that you should be getting your room ready. Setting up your room. Please contact your principal or your AP or the principal secretary who really runs the school. To be honest with you, those principal secretaries, they run the school. Okay? You don't want to tick these people off. You don't want to get on their bad side. You better be saying yes ma'am, no ma'am. Because these people know things. They know where the skeletons are in the closets. They know who's having affairs. They know people in the district that can help you. You don't want to mess with these people. Okay? You better respect the principal secretaries because they really run the schools. Okay? The principal they ask these secretaries, okay, what about my code, my budget codes? I don't understand my budget codes. Can you help me with my budget codes? You know, things of that nature. Oh, yeah. These people know. Okay? And most of them are very discreet. They know what's going on the campus, marital problems, divorces, kid problems. They learn it, they know it, but they're pretty discreet. Okay? They know pretty much what's going on in the district and mainly in the building. Okay? Be very careful with the principal secretary. But anyway, you'll be asking her for your keys. Can you have your keys early? I just want to set up my room. If your building has a scan card, please issue me my scan card. Please, can you ask the principal to do it? I don't want to have to do this at the last minute. Most of the time, they'll allow you to do it. If they know you're on staff, if they know you're part of the school, yeah, they'll let you do it. And it's a good time for you to set up your room. Why? Because the next thing that happens is staff development. Everyone is so excited doing staff development. Even some of the veteran teachers, they're ready for a fresh start. They're hopeful for a better and brighter year this year. Everybody is excited. Not everybody, but most of them volunteer for different committees, and everybody is so helpful and so forth. They come in fresh. Let me tell you something. By the time the semester ends, all that excitement is going to be gone. They're going to be worn out. They don't want to hear it, and they ain't volunteering for nothing. Okay? All right. It's just them and the rent. All right? They just want to go to the bank, cash their check, teach these kids, and volunteer. I already did this and did that. I ain't volunteer for nothing, you know. But during the early part of the year, everybody's excited. Okay? So during this time of staff development, which usually lasts 2 or 3 days, okay, uh, you'll volunteer for different committees, like the attendance committee, the social committee, the grade committee, uh, different committees. Okay, then they're going to describe, usually given by the associate principal. He has a roster of teachers that are going to be on different assignments. Now, everybody has hall duty each period. You have to be out in the hall watching the kids. You better be near your door, because as soon as you're out there in that hall, guess what the kids are doing? They're misbehaving. Okay? So you need to keep an eye. You need to be cutting your eye in your room, and you need to be looking down the hall. And of course, this is a time for you to greet your students, fist pump, bump, or whatever you're going to do. Hello, how you doing? Hug, whatever. Be careful about hugs, guys. Okay? Better be a side hug. All right? Because, okay? All right. So, you'll be put on usually each week, you'll be put on a morning duty and an afternoon duty. Morning duty can be anywhere. Afternoon duty can be anywhere. It can be in the cafeteria. It can be for breakfast. It can be getting the kids in the front foyers, the bus ramp, wherever they think they need an adult wherever they need adult supervision. The associate principal will assign you that spot. Okay. Depending on the principal, there is some negotiation whether you can change that assignment for this or that reason, but it all depends on the associate principal. Okay. All right. Next thing you know, the administrators are going to go over their discipline policy. Okay. How you write up a person, how you shouldn't write up a person, what are the reasons you write up a person, what are the reasons you don't write up a person, so forth and so on. Let me tell you something very carefully about the administration and their idea of support while we're here. Administrators generally assume that during staff PD, we're giving you all this information, okay, about how you do this and how you do that. Not all administrators, not all, but a lot of administrators, this is their support. This is how much I'm supporting you. Okay? This is it. And teachers are like, I need help with this kid. And a lot of administrators thinking, look, I've supported you. I've given you all the information you needed to be successful. I've given you your support. Okay? So there is a different dichotomy between administration and teachers. Not all administrators think that way, but a lot of them do. They figure, I've given you all this support. And not only that, let's be fair to the administrators. Administrators, when they come to school, they don't have a plan. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me backtrack on that. They're there to do what the principal asks them to do. And I'm talking APs now, okay? And beyond that, when they arrive at school, they don't know what's going to happen to them. They have no idea what's going to happen. They don't have a lesson plan. Things happen. Kids have a fight. There's a fight on the bus. There's a fight in the classroom. There's fire drill. So a kid lights a fire in the trash can in the restroom. Things happen, and they have to respond to these things. Okay, so their job is not as easy as one might think. And not only that, um, they have meetings to attend to. They have numerous ARDs, 504 meetings throughout the week, almost every week, that they have to attend to. They have numerous investigations because somebody stole my pencil bag. And it's a pencil bag that I used in elementary. I want back my pencil bag. And so they have to spend, they're asked to spend a good part of the day to investigate who stole this child's pencil bag. And the parents are upset. They want that pencil bag back. Okay? It's a keepsake. And they want it back. And oh my God, don't let a child lose their cell phone. Oh my God. Okay? It's that's very serious when a child loses or gets their cell phone stolen. Okay? Their whole world is rocked. And the parent, usually, they expect you to get that cell phone back before the end of the day. So you're out there running investigations, asking students, getting statements from students, blah, 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 over all these little things. So their job is not as simple as you might think. They don't just walk around, they don't just sit in their office and drink coffee. The effective administrators, they're out there. And they're very seldom in their office. Okay? Now, there are some administrators that sit there and play with their cell phone and drink their coffee. Yeah. But the vast majority of administrators that I've worked with, they're seldom in their office. They're out running investigations and blah, blah, blah. This is what they deem as support. Okay? They are calming that angry parent down because you stared at little Susie, or you said something, or little Johnny's perception that you said something about him that hurt his self-esteem. They're out there behind the scenes helping, trying to put out fires that supposedly you started. That's administrative support. That's what administrators deem as support. Not taking care of all your discipline problems. Okay? So there's a lot of things administrators have to do throughout the day that constitute support. Do you have bad administrators that are lazy and don't want to do anything? Yeah. Do you have good administrators that will back you and are not afraid to back you? Some. Okay? And the list is growing less and less. It's getting less and less. Okay? And more on that later. I don't want to get into about the dichotomy between administrators and teachers, teaching staff. We'll do that later. Okay, I just got off track a little bit. So anyway, back on staff development. They're gonna go over safety drills. You know, the tornado drill, the fire drills, the HVAC drills, in which you have to stay in the classroom, and you know there's a train derailment, and there's a chemical spill, and you have to stay in the classroom and turn off the AC units. All these type of drills. The intruder drill, okay. All these drills are going to go over that with you and how they want that run. Then the person that's in charge, usually a counselor, the person that's in charge of 504, you're going to go over those procedures and forms. Then the SPED department head is going to go over those procedures and forms, probably scare you, telling you that you're going to get your teaching certificate taken away from you if you don't implement this accommodation and this modification and blah 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 blah. Okay, and then the ELL or ESL, however you want to pronounce it, that representative is going to give their spiel on their program. Then the nurse is going to give their spiel on her program, and then the one of the principal secretaries is going to ask for you to supply a sub binder. Okay, all right. So this is all during staff development, and again, you don't have time to do any research on your scope and sequence and the things you have to do. That should have been already done. Already done. Okay, because by the time you get home, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be tired, you're going to be cranky, and you haven't set up your room. And that's the thing you're going to be thinking about. Then, usually the last day, which is that Friday of that week before you meet with the kids, depending on the school, depending on the district, usually you have during staff professional development, they give you time to meet with your team, and you do something that is called calendaring. You go and you pull out a calendar and you go over how many days you're going to spend on this unit and some of the activities that you can plan, usually right after lunch. Usually you have a faculty meeting in the morning, you do one more little thing with the campus administrators, and they're going to go over one more little thing that they have to discuss with you. By the time you're going to be like this, I don't want to get to my room. Okay, you're going to be bored out of your wits. You not want to hear. You're going to be tuning people out. It's not going to make any sense to you anyway, because you are overwhelmed with all this information that they've given you, and I just want to get to my room. Okay, all right. So usually after lunch, they allow you to meet with your team. So what is your team meeting going to be about? Well, like I said, it's calendaring, and then you go over your team roles, who's going to be the recorder, who's going to submit the lesson plans to your grade level administrator, those norms. You go over team norms, okay? Being on time, and what day are we going to meet during the week, and blah 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 blah. Okay. Then you go over your lesson planning sequence during your calendaring, and then last but not least, you go over your tutorial schedule. You're going to pick and choose your tutorials, whether it's going to be morning or afternoon, or what day you're going to use as tutorials. Okay, so once you start beginning teacher professional development and staff development, there's not going to be a lot of time in your day to do anything but follow their procedures and routines. Okay, because it's now time for those kids to start coming in the building. So finally that Friday, okay, usually that Friday after lunch, after your team has met, now you can set up your room. And then, depending on the principal, okay, your principal is probably going to say, okay, teachers, I'm going to allow you to come in on Saturday from 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock. I'll be here, and I'll unlock the doors, and you can come in and set up your room. Get ready for Monday, okay? Usually the principals do that, okay? But that's it. And I told you, I'm warning you, you should have some activities already ready to go for each unit according to your scope and sequence, according to your TEKS if you're in Texas, okay? and you should already have your room already prepared, because God help you now. Your time, your personal time gets less and less, because you had a lot of personal time during the summer, and now it is time for prep time. And most of your time, the largest component of those four elements of time, prep time, will take precedence over everything. Okay? All right. So, as I promised in my other videos, and including this video, let's get ready for your next discrepant event. And this discrepant event is called the mailing tube. Okay? And so, this is not something that you will follow the scientific method. It's just something to give a kid the focus on your lesson. Okay? You're trying to provide a focus on the lesson. So you just want them to pay attention. And you make it look like it's magic. It's magic. The floating tube. How does that happen, Mr. Rock? It's magic. And if you really want to have student participation, to enhance student participation, you list some things on the board, their ideas on the board on how this is happening. And you do it very slowly, like magic. Okay? And again, this works on their powers of observation if you want to incorporate the scientific method, but it's really just a focus event. Now, don't forget, a discrepant event is an event that causes a contradiction in students' prior knowledge and experience on what they deem as true in their real world. And they have to figure out, they have to use critical thinking skills to figure out why this is happening. So if you really want them to practice on their critical thinking skills, then this is one of the things you do. Now, I am going to tell you the solution to this tube in my lab. Hi, teachers. Welcome to my lab assignment for your discrepant events. I already showed you the first discrepant event, which was the tube. Okay, so let's look at the solution to the tube real quick. Here is a drawing of the tube itself. Here are the internal parts of the tube. It's really, you have a piece of string through the top opening of the tube. Inside the tube, the string is connected to a washer or a ring, like a key ring. And then you have another, your bottom string comes through the opening in the bottom, and it loops through the washer or the key ring. Key ring is probably better because it's a smoother surface and allows you smoother action when you implement the tube. And then it's anchored in one area inside of your tube. So as you pull it up and down, it will cause the mailing tube to levitate. Usually the longer the tube, the more distance the tube will elevate back and forth. So that's really what you're doing. Okay? The students will give you a variety of answers. If you care to list these on the board to enhance student participation, that strategy is basically called constructivism, where they construct their own ideas. They come up with, it really enhances their critical thinking skills, and this really just simply provides a focus to your lesson. I would not base my lesson on this. I would just use this as a focus to get the kids interested in what you're doing today. My next, this really isn't a discrepant event. My next activity, this is not a discrepant event. This is really a something that people use for um, electricity and magnetism. It's really using static electricity. You're creating charges, static charges, positive and negative charges to allow this to occur. This particular activity is called the Electron Ferry. What's going to happen is you have this piece of metal that's suspended on a string. It's going to go back and forth between the cans. It's going to ferry back and forth between the cans. You have an insulator right here. In this case, I'm using a piece of building insulation, what they use when they build, when a company is framing a house, they usually put insulation in there, and this is part of the insulation. You can also use wax as insulation. You can use rubber. You know, what I would do, I would use different materials as different variables in this activity to see which enhances the charges more. Will it be the building material? Will it be wax? Will it be rubber? Will it be cardboard? What material allows the better insulation for the movement of static charges between the two objects? Okay, so this is how, oh, by the way, not every teacher is going to be able to use this. Again, this is not a discrepant event. Not every teacher is going to be able to use this because usually in fourth grade you can use this in Texas. Okay, let me stop. In Texas, in fourth grade, you're working on the what an insulator is and what the purpose of the insulator is in terms of electrical energy. So you can use this in fourth grade, and you can definitely use this activity in high school in your IPC class, Integrated Physics and Chemistry class. Usually in ninth grade, your IPC class. Okay, so those two grade levels, probably you could use this. Okay, or if you want to just simply use this as a focus for any grade level, you can do that too. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I have a piece of PVC, polyvinyl chloride, okay, pipe, and I have a wool hat, and so I'm going to create some static charges. Now, you don't want to do this in front of seventh grade students or any students, because for obvious reasons, you know the boys are going to identify this with something, right? So you don't want to, I would probably do something like this. If you do this, then you're going to get a whole bunch of snickers from actually girls and boys. But I'm going to do this just the same because it really creates more of the static charges if I do it like that. And so what happens is, there you have it. Okay. And the more you lay this thing on top of the can, the better. Okay. So you have a buildup of static charges. You have a buildup of electrons. They're going to repel over to the more positively charged can over here, And when this builds up with a bunch of electrons, it's going to repel back and forth and back and forth with an insulator. You can use the variable of an insulator here on this can. What I have done in the past is I have actually added a can here. I've actually added a can with an insulator and another suspended piece of metal, and I have attached electrodes, electrodes with alligator clips onto various cans to see if you can actually carry the charges down the can to create a current. And you do study current electricity in the fourth grade to a very small extent in the fourth grade in Texas, and you can definitely study current electricity in IPC in high school. Okay, so anyway, this is how this works. So this is one of your activities that you can use in that medium, in that concept. Okay, all right. So let's go to something else. Now, this next thing is actually a discrepant event. Okay, and again, it's not very scientific method appropriate for the full scientific method. You can use this for your observation skills. You can use this just like the mailing tube as a focus to your lesson. Okay, so you can describe this as magic. Okay, and get the students interested in what you're doing. Works well with a principal observation. Okay, so let me maneuver over here so you can actually see. So you have a mason jar, okay, and you're trying to hide this from what's going on with the students. So you pour liquid in the mason jar, and you tell them, okay, so I poured liquid in the magic mason jar. It's all magic, okay? And I am a magician. I am the science boss. I can do things that you cannot do, students, okay? And so what you do is you put your hand over the jar and you tip it over, and some of them will say, we did this in 4th grade or 5th grade. But did you do this? Huh? Did you do this? Okay? Then you do it again, you do it again. You don't show them what's going on necessarily. I'm sorry for the camera angles. And so, you give them some, what are the law and what are the law as far as magic words. You come up with some magic words and you do this. And, why is that there? You ask them a series of questions. Why is that there? What's going on here? Why is it there? And why does some of the water move and not all of it comes out at the same time? And what causes the water to go in there in the first place? Okay? Why is this occurring? So here's the solution to the problem, to their answer. You're actually using a wire screen. Okay? Not a plastic screen, a wire screen. So you go to a hardware store and you buy a piece of a section of screen, and you cut it and you fashion it to your mason jar. And how it works is you have surface tension between the water molecules in between each one of the sections or segment of screen, and it causes an adhesion property to occur
to where you can simply, if the water will simply hold until you tip it to where there's an imbalance and the water will rush out. Okay, so you can practice this. Make sure the kids don't see what's going on the top. Okay, hide it and, play around with it. La-di-dee, la-di-da, magic. Have these magic words or whatever. You pour it, and you ask them a series of questions. You say, what's keeping the water in? Now, you got to make sure that you keep this jar upright, because as soon as you tip it and cause an imbalance, that water's going to come out. Okay? So, this can go on for about 15, 20 minutes if you want, as a focus to your lesson. And again, you can ask them a series of questions and improve their observation skills, improve their critical thinking skills, and really win them in science. Now, what I have done in the past is I have done this, and I usually wait a day. I say, okay, go home, figure it out. Figure it out, and, you want them going to lunch or their other classes wondering, they're going to be saying, yes, I saw Mr. Ross's class. I saw him put some glasses or some water in a jar and it just stayed there. I don't understand how that happened. You want them talking about this because, again, as I said before, you are trying to sell your subject. You are a salesman and you are trying to sell your subject. Okay? And so you can keep the secret for a day, and then the next day you say, okay, I'll explain it tomorrow, but I want y'all to try to figure it out, because if you can figure it out, I'll give you some extra points. Hopefully it's not on Google, on YouTube, as you are seeing right now. Okay? All right. So there's your solution right here. Okay? You have a wire screen, and you have surface tension, adhesion between the water molecules. Surface tension can be very strong, and if you lean it, you're going to cause an imbalance, and it's not going to hold, and the water is going to come out. Okay, so those are the things that you can do. Those are two or three things that you can do for your class. Okay. So, I will come on for my next video segment in the next few days, and I will show you some more activities, probably one or two more discrepant events and an activity or whatever I come up with. But anyway, in my next video segment, I will continue to try to come up with some things to make your class exciting and to sell your subject. So, I am thanking you for your time. This time, until next time, I'm Mr. Ross and I'm signing off. Thank you.